Well, years ago, I got a bunch of these railroad ties. What they are is ones that they replaced on the tracks, just in the area, not like 10 miles from here. What I did with them, I used them for fence posts because a lot of these are oak and a lot of them have a natural split right down the center. So it's easy enough to knock them apart. So you take a wedge, a steel wedge, drive it in here and pop these off. And then you can split it because there's two of these in each end. Well, what I'm dealing with now is the leftovers. I've got 4 piles like this. When the guy brought them up, this was a heck of a deal. He had a truck with a grapple on it and a pup on behind. You know, a big flatbed truck and then that grapple on his right back, and then there was a trailer on behind, and he could haul that whole load and unload it with that grapple. So I think I had 2 loads from him. My brother, I think, got a couple, and a neighbor got a couple. But they were, he was charging like $12 a piece. What it was, when the railroad, the railroad used to just pile them beside the track and anybody could come and take them. Well, that got to be a liability issue in case somebody got hurt doing that they'd be on railroad property. So they started contracting with this guy. He was out of Minneapolis, and he was getting paid to get rid of these things. So that $12, what he had a contract with Menards because they were selling these good ties, the best of them, for landscaping timbers and stuff. And I think there they charged like $5 a piece. Well, here was charging $12 for a big load, But of course, in there was a lot of the trash, just busted up ties and some rotten ties, and even a lot of these loose things, So I had dumped them all in this spot here, and now when I'm running that power line, I have to move the remnants of them out of there because the one post is going to go right there, for the wind charger power line. And these, like I say, are just the remnants. I fenced, like 3/4 of a mile, and I still got a bunch of those posts left over. And I know my brother, we did like a half mile. Because they're nice to work with when they're split. You got a really good solid post, especially them oak ones. Like a full post is good for like a corner post. But my whole fence, that fence back there is built out of those split oak ones. You can't hardly see the fence because it's got all them grapevines on it. But they were great. You put them in and you're just done with them for a long time. The only thing, the oak ones, you've got to use fairly short staples because they're hard to drive in. But now when it's cleaning up, I got to watch out for these things because they're kind of wedge shaped, and then they drive in the ends. But the sharp end is like a knife blade, so they could get in tires. I run into some of them in the garden because the pile extended all along here, so part of it was kind of in the garden. So I'm still hitting them once in a while with a rototiller. But I'm going to sort through the remnants. I'll get maybe 10 good ties out of this. Then a lot of this busted up stuff, which is good wood in the garage. It starts really easy and really heats. I know my brother used a lot of the broken up ones in. He's got an outside wood boiler that heats the house, and he burned some of them in there. They really throw the heat on, and they're easy to get going. So they're kind of nice to have for start fires. The only thing about them is, like I burn them in the garage that can cut a tie in half, and they'll be enough. But if you cut them with a chainsaw, they're really tough on a chainsaw chain and on the bar. because there's, from being in the ballast on the railroad track, there's a lot of rock in them. Or there can be. The oak one's not much because it really didn't penetrate into that oak. But if you cut a railroad tie at night, you'll see sparks fly. I know one guy was using the skill saw with a carbide. They cut one side, they cut the other side, and then you could break them. But I think it might work good to use that buzz saw. So I'm going to set these aside, and when I get that set up, I might cut up, the pieces like this here. You cut that into like a 2-foot length. But I've got to beat the dirt out of it because there's a lot of dirt here. And when I built this road up, I built it up with sand. So I want to get that topsoil in here to kind of lock the sand down. So it's an ongoing project. But I was going at it today. With the backhoe, I was going to start. I did something yesterday. I was going to finish up today. Well, then the battery was dead on the backhoe. Well, I kind of suspected that charging system didn't work. It hasn't worked since he got the thing. So what we've been doing generally is just charge the battery up and put it in there and run her until it gets to be a problem. Because it starts good and it don't take a lot of power when it's running. But I had to pull the battery out and I put it in the pickup and charged it up again. So it'll be good to go. I always intend to work on that. But it's really not mine, it's my brother's, and it's kind of a nuisance to work on because things are kind of buried in there with that whole loader frame around it. And it's a positive ground, which is always freakish to work on. I don't know why on the international they use positive ground, but the British used to do that stuff, but I don't know why international did it. But I got to charge it up, I'll put it back in now and use it. Someday I should work on it, but the generator appears to be up under the hood way up high, so I got to pull that whole top hood off to get at it. And it might be the regulator, but I don't have a manual for it, and I'm not really sure about monkeying around on the positive ground on the regulator. I'll see. But like I say, we've been using it anyway. For our needs, it isn't a big deal. You just charge it up once in a while. But at least the tire's holding there now. But that's how it normally is, If you're going to work, anything you're going to do, first you got to work on the equipment to get it done, to get started at it. But that's just how it works. Unless you've got all new equipment, even then you got to do maintenance on them. So you always got to allow a little time for that. But now I got to find a place to put all this stuff. That's why I got the carry all over here. I'm going to pile them scraps on there and think of a place to dump them where they won't be in the way. We've got rain coming in, which is why I'm not jumping right at this. That's why you hear a lot of rumbling and thundering going on, and there's been lightning flashing. It might be just on the edge of it, so it might be all right, but I want to go and eat dinner and then I'll decide. But it would be kind of nice. Rain would wash. I'm trying to wash the dirt out, get the good dirt out of this stuff. So I'm going to kind of turn it up a little bit and let it wash a little. But it's good dirt, and I'm back far enough now. But I got a debate about, I'm kind of right where the back of the backhoe is where the post will go. But right behind it is an elm tree that I've kind of had my doubts about. I don't know. The one side looks like it's starting to die. But I've got some other nice little elm or ash going. But I planted a pine tree back in there. And the pine tree is kind of suffering from being in the shade of that ash. But I've got, well, you won't be able to see it, but a lot of these pine trees, maybe you see the one back there, all of them I planted over the years, and there's some of them that are at least 20 feet high now. Big tree, they grow good. Once they get through, like here we've got a layer of sand, then there's clay. once the roots get busted through that clay, then they take off like crazy. But it sometimes takes a while to get them started. Once they get going, they really go. Well, I think that storm is moving right toward me. So I'll go in and eat, then go back at this. But I always have to watch every time I see any of these, or sometimes there'll be like old bridge planks mixed in, and some of them will have them big spikes in. Well, I wouldn't want to run them through a tire. But like this one, I think I'll save for a corner post. That looks like a good solid one. And there's a few others. But the rest will be wood. If I can get that buzzsaw, I think that would be my best bet. Because a chainsaw chain, you cut 4 or 5 of them, chain is shot. And I mean shot.